Well, all right.
Welcome back to As It Should Be. Paul Bertolino here in the world famous As It Should Be Studios.
Ring.
Yeah. We just happen to have Crystal Durant
Hi.
here in the world famous.
Shit, she's right over there.
Yeah,
Right
in the world famous
here.
As It Should Be Studios.
I'm here.
For reals, man. We also have Tommy Von Voigt in the world famous As It Should Be
He's
Studios.
there.
Yeah. And we have Aerosmith right here in the world famous As It Should Be Studios. Well, their discography's here because we are going to rank it. The complete discography. First album all the way to the
15th.
from the end of the dimension to the beginning of the whatever the fuck that last one's called. And yeah, all of them. All the proper albums though. No, classics live or any of that kind of shit.
Which bummed me out, honestly, because I think it's Classics Live 2 has Major Barbara on it.
Major Barbara, yeah, well,
I like that song.
It's a good song, well. So does that the last thing they put out, which is that early rehearsal tape from '71.
Yeah,
that also has it.
Yeah,
but that doesn't really count.
No, I know it's not an album.
It's not an album. But Major Barbara is a great track.
Yeah,
I don't understand. We'll get into this right now. Why didn't that make an album? Because when they were making certain albums like Night in the Ruts, they were hurting for songs and they made that up.
Throw Major Barbara on there. Or they could have thrown Chip Away at the Stone on that motherfucker too.
Right? Anyway, so let's get to going. And we're gonna rank the Aerosmith albums, and Tommy's gonna do it first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So we got 15 studio albums. Coming in at number last from 2001, we've got Just Push Play, which I would prefer not to do.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Just eject
that's
it from
15,
your
right?
Discman and toss it out the window.
Yeah,
Yep.
Discman.
Yeah. So their later era albums, I was hardcore into Aerosmith back in the late 80s, early 90s. For me, it started with Def Leppard was first, and then I got super into Aerosmith and had everything that was available at the time. So at the time, it was everything from the debut all the way up to Pump, and also the Pandora's box set. So I had like some rarities and shit like that, outtakes. And then further albums came along.
The other stuff starts coming out, yeah.
Things started to change for me very quickly. And by the time you get to like their last run of albums, I'm just like, I'm barely familiar with the material at all. Just whatever couple of singles might have gotten endless radio play, but like as far as diving in deep, I had to do that for this episode, and I'm listening to shit like Just Push Play, largely a lot of the stuff for the first time, and it's just like, oh god, this is just bad.
Yeah.
It's just dreck.
Yeah.
And so moving on from that, we get to another one that is just like 2004's Honkin' on Bobo. And I kind of have I don't know if this is an inaccurate memory, but I feel like at this point in time, 2004, people were banging the drum loudly enough of, we want the old style Aerosmith back, give us the old Aerosmith. And I think that there was some excitement when this came out, like, oh, they're going to get back to their blues rock roots, and like it's like a blues tribute record and everything. And I listened to it, it's just corny bullshit. It's ham-fisted.
Well, blues cover albums are not exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just. And number 13 from 2012, the final Aerosmith album, Music from Another Dimension. I don't think I like that dimension very much. I'm glad that we live in this one. Thank you. And then number 12 from 1997, we have 9 Lives, which is just like, well, it's better than those other 3.
It's better than those other 8 lives, I guess.
Yeah, it's better than those other 3. So then, all right, so those bottom 4 are the ones that are like, god damn, did this album have to exist? So when we get past that, and we're in my top 11, there are still some problematic albums at the bottom of this, but they're not, to me, nearly as like unforgivable as those 4.
Yeah.
Number 11 from 1973, their debut, self-titled Aerosmith. I don't like this album. I didn't like this album when I was an Aerosmith super fanboy when I was a kid. It just sounded like demos. It sounded weird. It sounded like kind of like a crappy garage band. Steven's voice is strange, and we've talked about this before. He has admitted in later years that he was intentionally singing weird. He actually he said he was trying to sing like he was a black guy
Surprise.
on that album and his reasoning is because he was insecure about the sound of his own voice. Steven Tyler, as we can all probably agree, is a fantastic rock singer. So he intentionally doesn't sing like himself and sings in what actually comes across like he's doing some kind of Muppet voice on some of those songs.
He sounds like he's kidding.
He sounds like he's kidding.
Yeah.
Sounds like Kermit the Frog's more badass older brother who has like a fucking bar band.
Oh man.
But a lot of that stuff is it just seems like it's just not fully cooked.
Yeah.
My number 10, talk about an album that's not fully cooked from 1985, Done with Mirrors. Now, I will actually argue this is probably the last true Aerosmith album in the sense that they did not do this with the help of outside writers and a bunch of label interference. This was still just them going into studio and seeing what they can come up with.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, at this point in time, there wasn't anything left in the tank. Including the fact that I think, to me, the standout track on this is actually a cover of a Joe Perry Project song, Let the Music Do the Talking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My number 9, a bit of a divisive album. Some old school Aerosmith fans love this record. I kind of think it blows. 1982's Rockin' a Hard Place. I just don't think there's a lot to work with here. And it's no fault to Jimmy Crespo and Rick Dufay. They were working with what they could, but they were working with the Steven Tyler who was nodding off at the console in the studio.
That was probably Steven Tyler's lowest point.
I mean, he was blacking out on
as
stage. He got held up at gunpoint by a dealer in a crack house. I mean, it's just things were not good at this point in time. But then we got to hear him singing about Jailbait. So
there's that.
Then we move on to number 8, 1993's Get a Grip. This is the album where I feel like they formally and officially jumped the shark. And I remember we've talked about jump the shark moments. I know with Def Leppard, it was when I saw the video for Let's Get Rocked, and I was like, oh no.
Uh-oh.
Now, there is other stuff on that Adrenalized record that's actually really good, and god damn it, they really should have led with some of that. But when I saw that video, I was like, uh-oh. I think they might not be relevant anymore. And I had the same exact moment when the video for Living on the Edge dropped off of the Get a Grip album, and I was like, is this serious? Did these guys just become just out of touch dinosaurs between the last album and this one? We went from loving an elevator to living on the edge? Yes, they did.
Yeah, they did.
They sure did.
I have so much to say. When
I know.
I'm doing what happens to you a lot.
I know.
Everybody, you're like,
I want to expand upon that.
Yeah.
But I will say, as far as this album goes, Crying, I've later years I've reassessed that song Crying. It's a fucking great song. It is truly a great song.
Yeah.
So there's moments on Get a Grip where it's like, oh, that's the Aerosmith I was digging in the late 80s, but like it was really going in a bad direction.
Yeah.
About half of this record is like, woo, we're in dangerous waters here.
Yeah.
My number 7 from 1974, Get Your Wings. Now we're starting to get to some shit. Now we're starting to get to where I want it to go. Okay? My number 6, woo, boys, this one druggy motherfucking record. From 1977, we got Draw the Line. This album is problematic, but I really kind of enjoy it. When it starts working, it really works. When it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Yeah.
I got so much.
I know you do. But I do want to say you
do.
As far as this album goes, they were so bad off at this point, from coming off the high point of Rocks to just an overall general high point while they were making Draw the Line, and they all fucked off to this deserted monastery or convent in Armonk, New York, upstate, and they all were in separate rooms and wings and like just doing all their drugs of choice alone in their rooms and shooting guns at the doors and shit. And they were in there for like, I don't know, half a fucking year trying to make this record, and then like they had to go finish it, like the mixes elsewhere, but they couldn't finish the mix because the master tapes went missing for months. They couldn't find the actual master tapes, and then finally somebody found them in a giant cookie jar in somebody's attic somewhere. And I'm just, you read this and I'm like, what was wrong with you guys?
Why are all 5 of those guys alive? This makes no sense.
Like, how does that happen? How does that happen and everybody comes out of that alive and intact?
Yeah, I mean, think of all these bands. Every band has 1 guy missing and then 2. Those fucking guys
They're all
and
still
there are
here.
5 of them?
Yes! And technically 6, because Ray Tabano was originally, before they replaced him with Brad Whitford, and he is still alive. Yeah, go figure. But my number 5 from 1987, Permanent Vacation. Love this record a lot. This is, for a lot of people, this is where they are done with Aerosmith. Because this is where they start bringing in the outside writers, and the A&R guys are really pushing and shaping their sound. But you know what? This is the record that allowed them to still be a viable entity to today. If it wasn't for that, after Done with Mirrors, the labels were done with them.
We wouldn't have gotten Get a Grip.
Well,
I'm kidding.
They would not have been able to continue on as a live unit, which they managed to do until only very recently, where fucking poor guy Steven Tyler actually fractured his larynx. But up until that point, he was still hitting all that shit in the original keys, and they were still killing it with the mostly original lineup. There were issues with Joey Kramer, but they were still killing it as a live unit. Say what you will about their later era albums, they were still out there doing it, and they were doing it well. No backing tracks, they were doing it for real. And it's because of them going the direction they went in with Permanent Vacation. Now, me being the age I am, when I got into Aerosmith in like 89, and I'm listening to stuff off Pump, I'm listening to stuff on Permanent Vacation, I'm like, this is amazing. I'm not coming at it from a view of somebody who might have been a teenager when Rocks came out, and they're like, yeah. You know, and for a lot of those people, unfortunately, they're like, the fuck is this Angel bullshit? But I'm like, yo, this song.
I love that
I was going to say, Crystal likes Angel.
I love that song.
I know. We both fuck with Angel.
Yes.
That is my jam.
Yes.
Moving on from that, we have from 1989, at number 4, Pump. I think this record kicks ass.
I would have been completely shocked if that wasn't a high ranker on your list.
Yeah, I like this album a lot. A couple of things on there, not so big a fan of, and you know how I feel about Chaney's Got a Gun. But the high points on this album for me are damn high points. And my number 3 from 1975, we've got Toys in the Attic. Yes. Oh my God. Do you have that one? Yeah, of course you've got that motherfucker right. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh, Toys in the Attic, though. My number 2 from 1979, Night in the Ruts. I love this album. This is even druggier than Draw the Line. But there's like this dark, sinister kind of evil vibe here that fucking works.
Because they're literally breaking up on the album.
They're breaking up and they're on the verge of death.
Yeah.
They're bringing in Michael Schenker to try out. I mean, it was just crazy what they were going through. But I listened to this record and I'm like, God damn, how did they manage? It was like they managed to just cobble together all the magical takes from these sessions. And this is just, I love it. I love it. Fucking Chiquita. Oh my God.
Best album. Best songs on that album.
Fucking Bone to Bone, Coney Island Whitefish Boy. Oh! No Surprise. Fuck me. Yeah. But my number 1 is 1976. It's Rocks. Of course it's Rocks. Come on. I mean,
it rocks.
It's Rocks.
I mean.
So.
Yeah. Well, okay, all right. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna come at you. Certainly not for your top one. That's
I know you're damn sure you're not coming at me for that.
Not mad.
All right. So there you go. That is Tommy's Aerosmith list. Stay tuned because Crystal and me are going to give you our lists. But first, I don't know. Do we have an Aerosmith commercials? Let's find out.
Get ready for the rock event of the summer. John Shear, in cooperation with WNAW-FM, presents Aerosmith, Ted Nugent, Journey, and Mahogany Rush. Sunday, August 6th, 12 noon, outdoors at Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands. This is the concert they'll be talking about for a long time. Aerosmith, Ted Nugent, Journey, and Mahogany Rush will rock Giant Stadium Sunday, August 6th at 12 noon. Tickets now at all Ticketron outlets.
All right, we are
Paul,
back.
You can go next, Paul. Because you got so many things to say, and I don't have that much to say. So
No, this is good because I would like mine to be last.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You're feeling kind of final wordy on this.
Well, not even that. I just have a lot, and I think it would be good.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Okay.
I have kind of a lot.
All right.
I really took notes on this stuff, and I'm not talking about facts about when they, and did you know that? No. From my head of what I'm thinking about this shit, I have a lot of notes. Mm-hmm. And because usually a lot of time my notes are kind of similar to Crystal's, where I've kind of like am saying, oh, did you know, blah 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 blah, but this is not like that.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So, this whole 15 album thing is in 3 sections for me.
Oh, this didn't work for you, did it?
I mean, it did, and it didn't. Mm-hmm. It did. First, let me say that, obviously Aerosmith is a great band, and they had their very amazing highs and their really terrible lows. Mm-hmm. But I feel as though the last section that I'm going to do first, the worst, starting from the worst, is... in some ways, I feel like they kind of coasted for a long time because they were still crushing it live. And like Kiss and a lot of other bands from the 70s that were like, cooking with gas for a while, and then they still made a ton of money touring. Because I don't care how old you were or who you were basically going to hear the hits. Like, they would tour behind an album, but you weren't really there to listen to that album. And a lot of times they didn't play the whole album. They would play the hits from that album, or whoever at the label said, these are the best ones and you got to play these, and then hurry up and get the dream on.
Right.
We have the drugs back here waiting for you.
Just come on, let's go. So that's kind of where I'm approaching it from, because if you went to a Kiss show within the last 10 years, first of all, it's basically a Broadway show. It's the same production every night, blah, blah, blah. And I'm standing next to a guy who's my age and his wife who's kind of into them, and then their daughter, and then maybe their grandchild, right? So same with the Rolling Stones, same with all that shit. Like, wow. And, oh, it's so great. And I'm like, no, this is really not that great. This song is really not that great.
Well, yeah, because they don't really know.
They don't really know.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to fault people for not having my experience with music and live music, but I'm just saying this is my perspective. So from the bottom, coming in at 15, I got Music from Another Dimension, which is like the Twilight Zone. I don't know.
How could you possibly put that album that low?
Oh my God.
Paul's coming for you over that one.
Shit, it started. Coming in at 14, Honkin' on Bobo.
Yeah, we got that in the same spot.
Okay, so first of all, let's just go with the title. Honkin' on Bobo? I don't want to hear anything that has to do with that. That sounds awful in so many ways. Like,
isn't it supposed to be a reference to the harmonica or some stupid shit?
Well, it's a double entendre.
It's a double entendre.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's Steven Tyler all over it. You know that he came up with that. Come on, yeah, man. No. Coming in at number 13, I have 9 Lives.
Yep.
Coming in at 12, Done with Mirrors.
Oh.
11, Rockin' a Hard Place. Number 10, Night in the Ruts. Sorry. Sorry, Tommy. Sorry.
You wrong, though.
Okay. All right, then here's the next section. which is like the 80s popular section, I guess you could say, kind of. Coming at number 9, I got Get a Grip. At number 8, Permanent Vacation, which I like a lot of those hits off of that. I like, even though it's terrible Ragdoll, I still kind of like it because it's kind of corny and hokey.
Yeah. The cover is terrible.
The cover is terrible.
But, I mean, that's a whole other...
And, you know, and I love Angel, of course, and Dude Looks Like a Lady is so stupid, but it's hard driving, and I kind of like it because it's corny. And the Beatles thing, I'm Down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's great, but whatever it is. Then at number 7, I have Pump. At number 6, I have Just Push Play. I know, it sounds crazy. I know. Yeah, it just... I don't know why.
Because you just had to go through a bunch of really terrible later Aerosmith albums, and
It just-
you know, after a while, everything just kind
I'm
of...
like, this isn't so bad, is it? I don't know.
Were your ears bleeding at a certain
It
point?
was. Like, maybe reverse. Okay, put Just Push Play at 9 and then Get a Grip at 6. Okay?
Okay.
Let's do that.
All right, I'm
Does that make you
happier
feel
with
better,
that,
Tommy?
yes.
Okay. That makes Tommy
That's
feel
better. That's better.
And then we have the classic era. So at number 5, I have Aerosmith, which I agree with you. I don't like that. It's not for a debut. I don't think it's good. I never really thought about the sound of all that stuff, because I think of both of you when I'm listening to these things and the things that you say about stuff that I probably did not pay attention to originally. But yeah, you're right. Like, no, that's not good. Number 4, I have Get Your Wings. Number 3, Draw the Line. Just that song alone. I love that song. Number 2, I have Rocks. I know.
Well, you know what, though?
I know what's going to happen here, yeah.
Well,
These are always, yeah.
And then number 1, I have Toys in the Attic.
Yeah, these are perennially
yeah, you know, that's one of those things where, like, everybody's going to choose one of those two albums.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
And I'll say about Draw the Line, best album cover ever, Al Hirschfeld's illustration of
That
it's
really
fucking genius.
is.
It's so good.
Yeah.
That is absolutely
It's
an
timeless.
amazing album cover. That's
That's
so
one of
good.
the best caricatures in existence.
Yeah.
Hands down. So that's my list.
that is your list.
That's my ranking. I don't have any notes or factoids or anything like that.
Because you're like, I don't give a fuck. I just listened to a whole bunch of Aerosmith that I don't like.
I'm ready to die.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm done with Aerosmith.
I'm done with Aerosmith.
Yeah.
No, I mean, because I knew that you guys would have more to say about it. So that's,
Well, yeah, but again, you know, like I said, I also do the factoids things with my notes, but I sidestep that. And well, anyway, let's go to a commercial first.
we'll be back.
17 years of rockin' in Rochester. Now WCMF invites you to the party with Aerosmith, Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, Brad Whitford, Tom Hamilton, Joey Kramer.
Killer!
Aerosmith.
Oh, excellent,
And I love Steven Tyler.
Sunday, May 4th, Aerosmith and special guest Ted Nugent. Tickets at Rochester War Memorial, Ticketron, or charged through Teletron. WCMF's 17th birthday, Sunday, May 4th. Produced by John Scher.
Aerosmith, rare and uncensored, on their newest home video, The Making of Pump.
There's flashes of brilliance. I didn't want it to end.
Go behind the scenes and witness the rehearsals, jams, and heated moments behind the smash album Pump. Aerosmith, The Making of Pump. 110 minutes of video your mother doesn't want you to see.
Of all the things I ever lost, I miss my mind the most. Yeah.
All right, we're back.
Yeah,
we're
We are back. Okay, well. All right, guys.
Buckle up.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Ay,
Here comes
ay,
Paul
ay.
Verlino with his ranking.
Okay. Now I've got my shit here. I have got some notes.
What you got?
I've gone through this stuff, and I have the same thing with you. I have the era that I like, and then it kind of goes into the stuff that I just really never dug into. So a lot of the stuff I was, probably with you too.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff I was hearing for the first time. Every time one of these albums came out, or at some point after the point of their existence, I might have gone in and listened to a couple songs and kind of gotten a feel for like, oh, that's what that one sounds like. But I never really went in. Ooh, okay.
This was hard. This was hard.
All right, so
I think it was rough.
My number 15. My number 15. Just Push Play from 2001. Just push eject. Okay? All right. All I can hear is production and trend chasing and power ballads.
But not
the title
good
track,
ones. Not good ones.
Ugh. The title track is an embarrassing mess. Jaded is middle of the road pap, but it sounds like gold amongst the rest of this shit. Love Lies, L-U-V, is yet another cookie-cutter latter-day Aerosmith ballad. It's totally interchangeable with any of those fucking 90s ballad singles. There's a song called Trip Hoppin' on this record.
Yeah, Trip Hoppin'.
Anyway, Fly Away From Here, yet another ballad. Sunshine would have been a far worse track, Sunshine would have been by far the worst track on Pump, but it's almost tolerable in the context of this album. And my point being that it kind of sounds like it would belong on that album, but it would be by far the shittiest track on that album.
From the album, right?
Yeah. Out of Your Head is literally Aerosmith trying to do the Spice Girls. You fucking kidding me? Literally. Under My Skin kind of sounds like they're trying to imitate a band called Aerosmith. Yeah. Oh, yay. There's a disco track with Joe Perry on lead vocals. It's called Drop Dead Gorgeous. How about Drop Dead? Light Inside. Claustrophobic production, electronic drums, and Aerosmith robots rockin'. Yeah, and avant-garde shrug. The cover is utterly abysmal, and it's not even an original piece. It had been used on a 1985 comp. Yeah, so here's a little factoid, actually, that I ran into. There actually was some Argentinian 1985 comp of, of current hits. Phil Collins and blah, 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 blah. And it's the same image. That's where they got it from.
Oh.
All right. Next up, number 14, Music from Another Dimension from 2012, their final album. Well, possibly. I don't know if they're going to make any more, but Jesus.
Yeah.
Don't, guys, will you? Production isn't even remotely as hideous as Just Push Play. Love XXX. Now, this track is weird. There's no song in there whatsoever, yet it manages to be somewhat catchy, and at least the production isn't that bad. Oh yeah. Again, I kind of like the sound and vibe of this track, but there's absolutely no song there. Beautiful. Video game robots attempt to be early 2000s hip-hop, Taylor Swift, and even Aerosmith, all in the same gloppy mess of a track. Tell me, Aerosmith ballad by numbers. Out Go the Lights. Holy shit, for a second it almost sounds like Aerosmith actually kind of really going Aerosmith. Unfortunately, it quickly turns into a third-rate Permanent Vacation track. Legendary Child. Oh great, now they're trying to redo Walk This Way. It's the closest they've come to classic Aerosmith in decades, but again, it's just Walk This Way redux. What Could Have Been Love? Generic ballad. Sweet Jesus. Fuck me. Can't Stop Loving You. How many songs are called Can't Stop Loving You, for fuck's sake? Ray Charles already did it, people.
Yeah, leave it alone.
But, you're gonna be shocked. You're gonna be stunned. It's another ballad. Okay. Love Her a Lot. Oh, geez. I actually like this one. I mean, they desperately need to fix the skip on the record on the chorus, but this is a tall glass of ice-cold water in the middle of the desert that is this album, in my opinion. We All Fall Down. Woo! Oh, good. I was getting worried we'd gone too far without a much-needed fucking power ballad. Freedom Fighter. Joe Perry track that's actually tolerable compared to the rest of this mess. Not great, and I could do without the Bon Jovi whoa gang vocals, but at the end, it's probably one of the better Joe Perry sung tracks, which is not saying shit. Closer. No chance this is going to be a ballad. Oh, yep. Well, actually, maybe the best one on this album, which is not saying shit. Something. A second and absolutely not needed Joe Perry song. Guys, this album has 15 tracks and clocks in at an hour and 10 minutes. Was this really necessary?
No.
Last song, Another Last Goodbye. Oh, what a curveball! It's a ballad. Is this a fucking joke? I feel like I'm being punked by Aerosmith. The latter half of that album, literally every other song is the same ballad.
So my question is this a Diane Warren effect?
No, I don't. No, this is. I think
That was before.
If it had
They
been
don't even have
Diane
her in
Warren,
there
they
on
would have
this.
been good ballads.
No, but I mean, like, once that fucking song came out, then it was just...
Well, they had hits with that, but the thing is that ballads have always been part of the Aerosmith thing.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, the beginning of this, frankly, is Dream On.
Right, yeah.
You know, and they skip that on Get Your Wings, but right away on Toys in the Attic, they have You See Me Crying.
Love that
Then
song.
they have Home. Like,
Home Tonight,
that
love
was
that
always
one.
the thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just was a time when they did it well and they didn't overdo it.
Yeah, that's what I mean, to have so many on one record.
Yeah, they just... I think it's just this desperation. I don't know if it's on the band's part or on the label's part for them to have another a hit with that same song, you know?
Was Desmond Child, did he have anything to do with that record?
At this point, no, I don't think so.
He was
Well, I
over
should
there.
probably, before I continue, I have to assure you guys, really only the bottom 3 or 4 have this extensive of notes. It's because these albums were such... I was just like, what the fuck? So I took really... When we get further in, I have short. I'm not going to go song by song. But these ones, I was just like, what the fuck is happening here? Okay, so... number 13. Get a Grip from 1993. 1 hour of big, loud, processed snare drum. The songs aren't anywhere near as good as the ones on Pump, and the production is twice as obnoxious. Eat the Rich is a decent song, but the damn snare drum. The title track is everything I hate about this kind of shit. For the first 20 seconds, it sounds like they mistakenly put She Drives Me Crazy by Finding Cannibals on the record. Flesh, I can't find the song underneath the production and the fucking snare. Walk On Down would be a crap track even if it didn't feature lead vocals by Joe Perry. Shut Up and Dance sounds like it was written for Joey Lawrence's character on Blossom to pretend he's rockin'. Oh. Believe it or not, I actually like Cryin'. I like Cryin'. I think it's one of the better ballads of their formulaic 90s ballads. I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
It's a good
In
song.
fact, I think that song belongs on Pump.
It would work.
There are
really
times
would.
when I forget that it's not on Pump. Yeah. But the opening of Gotta Love It sounds like In Living Color just came on TV, but then gives way to more Aerosmith by committee. Next up, Crazy.
by committee.
Aerosmith by committee. So next up, Crazy. Only 2 songs later, and Desmond Child comes in to help them try and write Cryin' again. Only this time, Cryin' sucks.
No, it's not nearly as good.
yeah. And now Lenny Kravitz comes in to help them write the Pedestrian lineup. So once again, only 2 songs later, we have yet another ballad. But hey, now they're starting to mix it up. Instead of attempting to rewrite Cryin', this time they're trying to sneak What It Takes past you a second time. And then it ends with an instrumental called Boogeyman. Evidently, Joe Perry has spent way too much time at Miller's Outpost. He's a cowboy.
Whoa.
Steel horse
Miller's
he rides.
Outpost.
All right.
Ooh, that's a blessing.
All right, so now we're getting into the albums that have shorter notes. Number 12,
Outpost.
9 Lives, 1997. Tired, hookless, too many power ballads again. Aerosmith product made for those who love to grab Starbucks and watch Friends. The songs are even less memorable than the last album, but I'll still put it above Get a Grip because at least the production sounds much better, especially the drums. Woo! All right, number 11, Done with Mirrors, 1985. Produced by Ted Templeman, the only album that they did. How the fuck did he manage to make this crap album with them? Like, he worked such magic with all the other albums he was on. But Let the Music Do the Talking, Sheila, My Fist Your Face, and Darkness are the standouts in my opinion. Darkness now appears to be considered part of the album. Originally it was just a bonus cut on the cassette. It was never on the vinyl release. She's on Fire and Shame on You are by far the worst tracks, I think, and the rest is totally forgettable. Can't stand the terrible effect on Steven's vocals. Ugh. Number 10, Honkin' on Bobo. Yeah, I have this one ranked pretty high.
Wow, number 10.
Well, look what it's going against. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I liked it a lot more than you guys did, I can think of little that bores me more than the thought of an album of blues covers by anyone. But by latter-day Aerosmith? Well, incredibly, I don't think it's not that bad. I don't think it's that bad. I wish it didn't have that typical early 2000s compressed and dry production. But I feel like the performances are pretty fiery. I think Steven sounds really great. The band even sounds like Aerosmith the band and not the brand. I actually detect a human element in these tracks. I mean, they fucking pull off an Aretha Franklin cover, in my opinion. I don't think it's bad. Jerry Perry, Joe Perry even sounds good singing lead on the couple songs he's on. So my final thought on this record is they should have gone out on this one.
Oh, yeah.
Because, even if it's not an actual harkening back to the classic Aerosmith, them going out on that as opposed to fucking music from the 50th Dimension or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, number 9, Draw the Line. The drugs, as I said in the previous episode, the drugs start working against them. 2 very strong tracks, Draw the Line and Kings and Queens. Great tracks. The rest ranges from weak to just plain bad. Some songs sound like they're making them up as they go along. The Hand That Feeds is head-scratchingly awful. Critical Mass is another low point. It should be called Critical Mess. Bright Light Fright, sung by Joe Perry, is just plain shitty. Get It Up has potential. It's probably the least lame of the weak material. The cover of Milk Cow Blues is fine enough, but it's an extremely pedestrian choice for an album track. I think it would have made a really fun outtake to hear years later, but as an album closer, it just doesn't cut it. Now, Done With Mirrors has more songs I like, but I put this above it because the songs I do like in this album chew up and spit out anything on that album, and the classic Warm 70s sound is always gonna be a big help. And then what did I write? Oh, I just tore this album to shreds after praising Honky on Bobo. However, how could I put it above that album? Simply, I'll take 70s Aerosmith at their worst over 2000s album blues covers, by any band, no matter how good it is. Number 8, Permanent Vacation, 1987. Produced by Bruce Fairbairn. I really liked the first 2 tracks, Heart's Done Time and Magic Touch. Hate Ragdoll. Some Mariah sounds like the fucking Friends theme song. I forgot about St. John. I kind of like that one. Hangman Jury, big 80s tries to go rootsy. And side 2 is pretty much a wash for me, except I kind of like the title track. And now, I always really, really disliked that album. I liked it way more going back to it this time. This is an upgrade for me. Like, if I had done this list without going back, I would have put it lower. So, Rock in a Hard Place, I put it number 7, 1982. Aerosmith is basically lost in space at this point. No Joe, no Brad, but honestly, I don't even think that's the issue. The issue is, of course, obviously, drugs. Steven Tyler doesn't know which way is up at this point. Most of the performances lack spirit, and of course, too many subpar songs. Not into that close delay on the vocal thing, so that's that close delay that makes it sound like it's almost double tracked.
Oh, slapback.
Yeah, it's a slapback. Yeah, I don't like that sound. I remember they seemed past it when this came out. Like the Has-Been vibes were really strong even when I was 12 years old. Now that said, I've always had a soft spot for this album because timeline. I remember this being the new Aerosmith album when I was 12, and I really liked it at the time. Now, I like roughly half the album, I always especially liked the first 4 tracks, Jailbait, Lightning Strikes, Bitches Brew, and Bolivian Ragamuffin. After that, it really gets rough other than the title track on side 2. If I was going to get truly ruthless, I'd cut it down to just Jailbait and Lightning Strikes. Lightning Strikes, for me, is one of my very favorite Aerosmith singles. I love that one. But my number 6, Pump. Aerosmith's greatest MTV hits. On paper, I should hate this album. It's overproduced, co-written by song doctors like Desmond Child and Holly Knight. Nearly every song has been run into the ground by MTV and radio, but the fact of the matter is a truly stunning achievement. If I were ranking 100% purely objectively, I would probably put this at number 3, maybe even number 2. But it's simply not an album I've ever had the urge to go back to or to put on and listen to. It's genuinely a great album that just doesn't excite me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I like that you're being honest about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So number 5, Night in the Ruts, 1979. This album is a grab bag of whatever they could cobble together as a band while they were basically falling apart. Joe Perry leaves midway through, and they end up filling out the album with a couple of covers. But even with that, they sound like they're firing on more cylinders than on Draw the Line. Some of the more mid-cuts like Cheesecake sound at least a little more focused than the shit on that album. At least this record doesn't have anything I would consider outright bad. Chiquita and 3 Mile Smile are by far the standout tracks for me. But yeah, you're right. No Surprise is great. Coney Island Whitefish Boy, great tracks also. Yeah, that's not a bad record. It should be a terrible record, all things considered.
I know. On paper, it should be horrible.
Be terrible. It should be worse than Draw the Line.
And I love it.
Yeah. But number 4, Aerosmith. Aerosmith, the first album, 1973. Rough, proto-Aerosmith. Reminds me a bit of the first Kiss album with its rinky-dink sound, but I like it. I find the fledgling vibes a little charming. I feel like the first Aerosmith, the first Kiss, and the first Judas Priest albums are sort of akin to one another. As a collection of songs, I'll take the Kiss album any day, but otherwise I feel like those 3 albums are kind of birds of a feather. I really like the opening track Make It, but the breakdown section is really messy, and not cool messy. I always liked Somebody within the song Somebody within the context of the album, but listening to it for this and judging the song on its own merits, it's not terribly strong. It may just be the weak production and performance, because I can actually see how this would have been a really great track had it been done for Rocks or Toys. Dream On, of course, is Dream On. One Way Street is one of the strongest tracks on this album for me. Very much rises above the limp production and the weird vocal affectation that Steven Tyler uses for most of the record. Don't like side 2 nearly as much, but it does boast Mama Kin, which is a Stone classic. Write Me is a B-side level tune that I've always liked. And well, my final thought on this album is I'll happily take Aerosmith on their way up over Aerosmith on their way down. Number 3, Get Your Wings. Aerosmith hit their stride. This is far from a perfect album, but it features some of my very favorite Aerosmith tracks. Same Old Song and Dance, SOS, Train Kept It Rollin'. Spaced is a cool mid-tempo chill track that I really dig. Lord of the Thighs has never been a favorite. It's a bit mid, but it's far from bad. Listen closely to the intro and you'll hear the very early stages of Walk This Way. And I really like the cool piano part by Steven on that. And Seasons of Wither is a cool moody track that works nicely coming out of Train Kept It Rollin'. Yeah, you know. But I have to say something at this point. I'm at my number 3. And I still don't think we've come to... Well, other than my objective view of Pump, I still haven't come to, like, great Aerosmith albums that I'm like, fuck yeah. Even Get Your Wings, nearly half of that, I'm like, oh, well, yeah, you know. I discovered, going over this, I don't like Aerosmith that much.
Oh.
There are certain Aerosmith albums that I fucking love, but even some of their classics are like, well, yeah, you know.
I feel you.
Yeah. Number 2, Toys in the Attic, 1975. Damn, this album just comes in punching from the first note. Opening title track, a classic of the highest caliber. Aerosmith have truly arrived. Uncle Salty, a cool strutting mid-tempo number. I guess I do have track-by-tracks on this. Adam's Apple sounds like Aerosmith in full swing. It's quintessential 70s Aerosmith album track. Now, Walk This Way. Nothing really needs to be said about this one, except that I wish that I could go back to how this song sounded to me when I was a kid. It was amazing back then. Now I regrettably must file it away with Imagine a Bohemian Rhapsody. Big 10 Inch is fun, but a total throwaway. Sweet Emotion is another one I wish I could regain my childhood perception of. I loved this song so much until classic rock radio arrived and just completely destroyed it to the point of no return.
Yep.
No More is one of my very favorite Aerosmith songs, period. Probably a top 5 deep cut for me. Round and Round is a super lame title, but possibly the heaviest track in the entire catalog, a bone crusher. You See Me Crying, back when Aerosmith ballads were good. Or when they were great, actually. But they have a couple of great ones in the 80s and 90s, though. But of course, number 1 rocks. A perfect album. Aerosmith's absolute pinnacle, one of the very best 70s hard rock albums ever made. Side 1 is one of my favorite album sides of all time. Back in the Saddle, Last Child, Rats in the Cellar, and Combination. Rats in the Cellar may well be my very favorite Aerosmith song, period. Side 2 is no slouch either. You got Sick as a Dog, Nobody's Fault, which is another favorite deep cut. Get the Let Out, Lickin' a Promise, Home Tonight.
Lickin' a Promise.
Yeah.
Dude.
And now, as highly as I spoke of Pump, I would still put this one objectively over that because this one is perfect in every way. It's the best of all worlds. It's a flawless collection of songs written solely by the band with exciting performances and beautifully warm, earthy production, and not earthy in that contrived 90s sort of way. There's blood and sweat all over every note of this record. I can hear it oozing from their pores, yet it all sounds so effortless. This should be the absolute starting point for anybody looking to dive into Aerosmith, but I warn you, it's all downhill from here. So yeah, that's...
All right.
So there you go. That's my really long Aerosmith ranking segment.
Nicely done.
It's all right.
Okay. I'm going to take you out of your misery and take you to commercial.
The Bill of Rights, according to...
Freedom to give someone a little head.
Freedom to play your music loud. Freedom to record a song called...
Freedom to get clean.
Psycho Killer.
Mind your own business.
Where I shot the sheriff. And the freedom to buy it or
Make
not.
love in an elevator.
The freedom of peace.
The freedom to mow your lawn without a shirt on.
The freedom to wear whipped cream as clothing.
The freedom to see the world. Freedom to select any channel on the tube.
Freedom to imitate animals.
The freedom to not inhale.
The freedom to use handcuffs for friendly purposes.
Freedom to use bodily fluids as art supply. Freedom
to sign whatever you want.
Spell common root vegetables.
The freedom to pay cash.
Enjoy
And the
cool
freedom to
and
make
unusual. Freedom to choose what you choose to choose. Hey,
Vote.
protect your freedom.
Vote.
Vote.
Even for the wrong person.
Vote. The freedom to wear rubber all day. If necessary.
Big story tonight. Aerosmith's farewell tour is now canceled. More than 50 years after the legendary rock band first stepped onto a stage here in Boston, Aerosmith now says it must retire from touring because of Steven Tyler's health. WBZ's Julie McDonald spoke to fans who supported the hometown band for decades.
No more Aerosmith on tour. Longtime fans come together tonight, and while many feel like crying, they're mostly filled with sweet emotion for what this legendary band has meant to them.
You hate to see it happen, but you know what? We're just so thrilled with the music they gave us over the years, and all things must come to an end to appreciate what they gave us over the years, too, you know?
Aerosmith's longtime followers know if he could, Steven Tyler would do what it takes to get back in the saddle once more. But since his vocal cord injury makes that impossible, New Englanders are left to dream on through memories of favorite places where they saw those famous faces.
I was shoulder to shoulder with Joe Perry playing. Thrill, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. Thrill of a lifetime.
Ernie Bach Jr. got to know the group over the years, and even though they'll no longer walk this way on New Year's Eve for the once postponed, now canceled TD Garden show, Aerosmith is forever the Boston band.
Anywhere you go in the world, Aerosmith means something. They are ours.
Fans who purchase tickets through Ticketmaster will be refunded automatically. Those who buy sites like StubHub or SeatGeek need to contact Purchase for more information. In Marshfield, Julie McDonald, WBZ News.
All right, there you go. That is our list of the Aerosmith catalog, our rankings of Aerosmith. And, yeah. I'm tired. I'm tired from reading all those damn notes.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, and thank you for everybody for tolerating our point of view on Aerosmith, because that's all it is. We're not really giving you the official ranking.
Yeah.
That's for Rolling Stone to do.
Zing.
Shade on Rolling Stone.
Yeah, but yeah, you know,
it.
because
fuck them.
Yep.
Our lists are different from one another, and yours are going to be your lists are going to be different from ours. Every list is equally as valid. Your opinion isn't more valid than ours. Ours is not more valid than yours. So all you gatekeepers who want to come in, we're already shutting you out. We're already good. We already can't hear you. I don't hear that. I don't hear it.
What?
I don't hear
Huh? I don't know.
But do tell us what you think. Do tell us how you rank the albums, and whether you like Aerosmith or if you don't like Aerosmith. I mean, maybe you have only a particular era that you like and you want to leave out all the crappy later ones. I don't blame you.
Not mad at that.
But all right, well, we will be getting out of here now. Thank you for subscribing, if you have. But if you haven't, consider subscribing. If you do, ring the bell. Yeah, and we don't know what we're doing next week. This is where
Not
this is
yet.
one
we
of
don't.
those things we don't know what we're doing
We
next
don't know
week.
yet.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I think we do. Oh, no, I forgot about this. We do know what we're doing next week.
We do.
I'm going to spring this on you guys. We've talked about this already, but we have a new little series coming up.
We do?
We do.
Yeah, we've discussed this only in passing.
I forgot.
But I think I can just be so bold as just announce it right here, live.
All right.
On tape.
Tell us about it.
Stud.
This is going to be merely a 10-episode series. Our favorite live albums of the 70s by year.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Can we do this?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to do... We were going to do favorite live albums, but, 60s isn't really a strong a year or decade for live albums. And even the 80s and beyond. Live albums, that is a distinctly
It's a 70s thing,
phenomenon.
Yeah.
Other decades have live albums,
Yeah.
but all the really great ones that you're going to want to talk about, that's the one decade where every single year is going to be
Let's do
chock
it.
full of records you're going to want to talk
Let's
about.
do it.
Yeah.
70 to 79. We'll
70
go year
to
by year.
79.
Yep.
So that means next week is 1970.
All right.
All right. See you soon.
Bye.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel you, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm with that.
Wow.
3, 2, 1.
Well, all right.